This is Part 2, Episode 69. Red Butterfly flew backwards after using the white jade bracelet to block the lance and coughed out a mouthful of blood. The surrounding area started to collapse even faster. The void had already started devouring some areas. Sengnyo. I'm a core disciple of Suzaku. If you kill me, you will die a terrible death. Red Butterfly was scared. This time, she was truly scared. The moment her body backed up, the time domain spread out from the 9 wood carvings. She shouted, "Time domain." This time domain came from Ching Song of the Four-Sect Alliance. He was at the mid-stage of soul formation, so his domain already contained the ability to attack. Wang Lin's 2 fingers slashed down like a sharp knife ready to carve. Under the effect of the time domain, Red Butterfly's body couldn't help but slow down a bit. Red Butterfly's eyes were filled with hatred as she raised her right hand and recited some strange chant. Suddenly, the white jade bracelet released a bright light. Under this light, the time domain instantly collapsed, and Wang Lin felt waves of pain coming from his finger. This feeling was the same as when he touched that celestial sword. The bracelet released a large amount of white light that gathered together to form a black hole behind Red Butterfly. The black hole revealed an altar-like place. This place was in Suzaku. Sengnyo, I'll remember you. Yes, you. It is you who forced me to give up 1 level of cultivation to use this bracelet. I'll remember this. The hate in Red Butterfly's voice was intense as she quickly backed up and flew toward the black hole. The open peace bracelet, aside from its normal ability, had one extra ability, which was to open up a portal from the celestial realm back to Suzaku and allow the user to return safely. This bracelet was originally obtained by Suzaku from the celestial realm, so how it had this ability was not a mystery. It was also because of this that Red Butterfly wasn't really that afraid of anything. However, the price for using it was too great. Once she returns to Suzaku, her cultivation level will no longer be late-stage soul formation, but mid-stage soul formation. Wang Lin was starting to lose control of the ruthless domain inside his body. Seeing that Red Butterfly was about to leave, he felt very frustrated. If it wasn't for that bracelet, she would have surely died today. Once she returns to Suzaku, it will be very hard to find an opportunity as good as this one to kill her. Wang Lin shouted, "Red Butterfly, look at what this is." Wang Lin raised his right hand. Suddenly, a fan with only 2 feathers appeared in his hand. Red Butterfly's eyes suddenly locked onto the fan and expressed shock. Her feet unconsciously paused for a moment. Senior sister's fan. What Wang Lin wanted was this pause. He endured the ruthless domain in his body as he threw the fan forward, and then his origin soul flew out. His origin soul flew out, grabbed the fan, and pulled off one of the feathers. The feather began to burn and turned into a shadow shaped like Wang Lin. However, the shadow had no features, just darkness. The moment the shadow appeared, Wang Lin's origin soul shouted, "Explode." Boom. The shadow exploded and the destructive force charged toward Red Butterfly. Red Butterfly's face changed again, and she quickly backed up. She was now inside the black hole, but at this moment, Wang Lin's origin soul arrived. Stay. Wang Lin's right hand reached out and viciously grabbed toward Red Butterfly. Just as Red Butterfly was about to resist, the shockwave from the shadow's explosion arrived, causing her to let out a painful groan and cough out another mouthful of blood. At this moment, Wang Lin's hand arrived. Wang Lin was giving it his all. He was completely ignoring the chance that his body would be damaged due to his origin soul leaving it. This attack contained the intent to kill. Red Butterfly raised her right hand to block the attack. A ray of white light shone from her body. This light was very dangerous to origin souls. Wang Lin could feel his origin soul weakening at a very fast pace. Wang Lin clawed down, and with a flash of Red Butterfly's right arm was torn off by Wang Lin. Wang Lin saw Red Butterfly without a right arm fall into the hole with her eyes closed. The hole then quickly folded upon itself and closed. Wang Lin secretly sighed. He grabbed the other feather with his origin soul and quickly returned to his body. After the black hole was closed, he returned to his body. Late-stage soul formation cultivators are too hard to kill. Wang Lin held the remaining feather and the right arm and quickly charged toward the entrance. He had used everything he had. He even picked the moment when her life-saving treasure was used up and she was at her weakest, but he was still unable to kill her. Although I haven't killed her, with this arm, I can use countless curses to ensure that she will forever remain at the soul formation stage. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he revealed an evil expression. My cultivation is still not enough. If I was at the mid-stage of soul formation, the result of today's battle would be different. Wang Lin sighed again. His battle with Red Butterfly wasn't long, it only lasted a few breaths. Madman. He really is a madman. The corpse sect old man, who had thrown the corpse down, cursed as he flew toward the entrance. However, at this moment, rumbling sounds came from the entrance and it collapsed. The old man stared dumbfoundedly at the entrance with a bitter expression on his face. Not only him, but even Kai, who was startled. When Wang Lin saw that the entrance had collapsed, he immediately turned around and rushed toward the ground. This fragment had many overlapping layers. Since he could no longer go up, he had to go down instead. While Ju Yi and the old man were fighting, he used his divine sense to secretly search the area. Now that he had a target, he arrived next to a hole on the ground that hadn't collapsed yet in almost an instant. Without any hesitation, he charged in. The old man from the corpse sect turned around, spread out his divine sense, and charged toward the hole Wang Lin went down into. Kai, who touched his bag of holding. Inside it was the star compass, but it was too damaged to use and he didn't know how to repair it. Helpless, he followed behind the old man. The most important thing now was to protect his own life. Ting look. The person that stole you is escaping. I said it before, anyone that dares to steal you must die. Let me use the last of my life to kill this person, then we can disappear together in this void. How about that? Strange, why do I feel like I don't know you that well? It feels like I'm remembering something. It feels like I'm remembering something. Ting Ju Yi hugged the woman with deep passion in his eyes, but this passion soon changed into confusion. He kissed the woman's lips and frowned before chasing after the old man from the corpse sect with confusion in his eyes. Wang Lin entered the tunnel and quickly descended. The sounds of the third layer collapsing gradually faded. Although all of the layers were going to collapse eventually, the fourth layer was the safest spot at the moment. As Wang Lin descended, he secretly thought, the only way to leave this place is with Kai Hu's star compass. He continued to descend for a long time, before he saw a light at the end. However, he didn't charge out, but hugged the wall of the tunnel. A few breaths later, a figure quickly flew through the tunnels. The moment this person passed Wang Lin, he paused for a moment and snorted before flying toward the light. Shortly after, Kai Hu also came down and was startled by Wang Lin. Wang Lin immediately flew out and sent a voice transmission saying, Kai Hu, our cultivation levels are the lowest here. We need to be careful of that old man from the corpse sect. Kai Hu nodded. The two of them came out of the tunnel at the same time. The moment they came out, both of them were startled. What appeared before them was a very majestic group of palaces. The palaces went on for as far as the eye could see, and all of them were made of spirit stones. The central palace was the most majestic. Even from this distance, they could feel the pressure of the celestial spiritual energy. Kai Hu sucked in a breath of cold air. Could the center palace be made of celestial jade? Wang Lin's divine sense was much more powerful than Kai Hu's. After sweeping the area, he was shocked as well. However, he found out that the central palace wasn't made of pure celestial jade. It had spirit stones mixed in. But even so, it showed just how powerful the owner of this palace was. A celestial king's palace. A very happy voice came from the distance. His face showed that he was completely shocked before he let out a loud laugh. I don't know which celestial king's palace this is, but considering how well preserved it is, it must have the corpse of a celestial inside. The old man laughed as he charged forward to enter one of the palaces. Just at this moment, Ju Yi appeared with the female corpse in his arms. Right after he appeared, he began to walk forward. Although it looked like he was going slowly, it only took him 3 steps to arrive before the old man from the corpse sect. Juyi stared at the female corpse and passionately said, "Ting after I kill him, let us go into the void, okay? I can feel that I have begun to weaken, however, I feel like I finally understand something. I seem to have remembered something from the past. I seem to remember who you are." The old man's expression immediately changed as he backed up. Juyi raised his head, looked at the old man, and then suddenly slammed toward him. Being charged at by someone with the power of a late-stage soul transformation cultivator was a nightmare for anyone. The old man's expression changed again as he quickly dodged. The old man angrily shouted, "Juyi, you madman. I even returned the corpse to you. Why haven't you dissipated yet? This place must contain other corpses as well. Go find them if you want. Why are you still chasing me?" Juyi looked at the female corpse tenderly before kissing her forehead and closing his eyes. When he opened them, they were no longer filled with love, but with clarity. Eyes as clear as this should never appear on Juyi. It was as clear as the distinction between black and white. He took 1 step forward and suddenly, there was a thunderous roar in the sky. During this thunderous roar, Juyi turned into a burning meteor as he charged toward the old man. The surrounding sky began to roar as the collapse started again. However, it was much more noticeable in the sky this time around. Sounds of tearing echoed in the sky. It was as if there was an invisible hand tearing the sky open. "My domain is Craze. My Dao heart is Ting. To die for Ting, I'm completely satisfied." Juyi's voice came from the burning meteor. This meteor flew across the sky, creating sonic booms all the while. "I, Juyi, have reached the end of my life, but I have no regrets." The old man's expression changed again, as he cursed and immediately backed up. He knew that Juyi was about to die. If he could stall for just a bit longer, Juyi would dissipate. "I never thought that at the end of my life, thanks to my own origin soul burning, I would finally understand." Juyi's voice contained a hint of resignation and a sliver of regret as he echoed across the sky. The sky suddenly darkened and a powerful pressure pressed down from the sky. Wang Lin's body didn't have any power to resist. He was pushed down from the sky and was rendered immobile on the ground. He looked at Kai-Hu, who was even worse off. Kai-Hu was unprepared for this pressure, and was now pressed firmly on the ground without any power to resist it. Even the palaces on the ground were turned into rubble by this pressure, except for the central palace, but even that began to show cracks. Wang Lin's heart was terrified as he stared at the burning meteor in shock. Even with his mental strength, his body involuntarily trembled. "So this is Tao, unfortunately, this is the end of my life." Master once said that those who seek Tao are willing to die at sunset, if they could gain the right path in the morning. So this is what he meant. A fist-sized red bead appeared on Juyi's forehead, but it immediately crumbled and fused with the burning meteor. The flame around the meteor disappeared, revealing a figure of red light that stood between earth and the heavens. His face revealed signs of deep regret, as his left finger casually pointed at the old man. The old man was about to dodge, but he found out that he couldn't move his body. His face became pale as he stared at Juyi with shock. He bitterly said, "Ascendant. When I came to the celestial realm for the first time, I met you. The Craze domain was something you forced onto me. I know your goal now and I understand it all, but I don't regret it. If I were given another chance, I would choose to meet you again." Juyi didn't even look at the old man. He only stared at the female corpse in his arms. He was once a very talented disciple in the 5 Elements sect and had much more determination than a normal person. He cultivated the 5-element method and passed the rest of his fellow disciples one by one until he finally became the disciple of the only late-stage soul transformation elder in the sect, and his cultivation level continued to increase. When he reached the soul formation stage, his master gifted him the rain cauldron, but no one could have expected how much he would change. In the celestial realm, he entered one of its palaces and saw a female corpse. From that moment on, he was enchanted by her and left his old self behind. In his eyes, this female corpse was his everything. For this female corpse, he left his sect. His master wasn't willing to kill his own beloved disciple, so after letting out 3 long sighs, let him go. Corpse lover, madman, all kind of rumors spread across Suzaku. However, none of this affected him. He didn't regret any of it. Borrowing the crazed domain, his cultivation became even more powerful, until he reached the soul transformation stage. His master failed to reach the ascendant stage, and had reached the end of his lifespan. On the day his master died, Juyi knelt before the 5 Elements sect. He knelt for 7 days. After that, he acted 3 times to save the 5 Elements sect, but he was no longer one of its disciples. At this moment, all of these things appeared in Juyi's heart. The old man had already given up on struggling. He didn't have any chance against an ascendant cultivator. The difference in domains could destroy everything. Juyi's eyes were filled with clarity. Although they no longer contained the same tenderness, they were now filled with a powerful domain. He lowered his head, gently kissed the female corpse's forehead, and turned his gaze to Wang Lin and Kai Hu. In the end, his eyes fell on Kai Hu and he calmly said, "Little brother, help me take care of my wife, okay?" Kai Hu's body was grabbed by a mysterious power. He looked at Juyi with a terrified expression. "This?" Juyi frowned. Kai Hu smiled bitterly in his heart. He didn't want this corpse at all. If the elders in his clan were to find out about this, it would affect him too much. But right now, this was a request from a dying ascendant cultivator. No one would dare to refuse. Kai Hu took a deep breath and said, "Junior is willing." Juyi shook his head and said, "You are the giant demon clan's young master, so it is natural that you would be afraid to follow in my footsteps. Forget it." With that, his gaze turned to Wang Lin and he gently asked, "Are you willing to help me?" Wang Lin immediately felt the pressure on his body lessen. When he got up, he heard Juyi's words and began to ponder. Juyi looked at Wang Lin and said, "My wife requires celestial jade to ensure that her body doesn't change. Every 1,000 years, you will need 1,000 pieces of celestial jade. It's a bit difficult, but not too difficult. Are you willing to help?" Wang Lin pondered for a bit and said, "I don't dare to promise that I can obtain that much celestial jade." Juyi smiled as he looked into the sky and said, "Good little brother. I won't let you help me for thousands of years for nothing." Wang Lin stared at Juyi, but didn't say a word. Juyi reached out and grabbed with his hand. Suddenly, the palace on the ground that hadn't collapsed yet collapsed and pieces of celestial jade flew out of it. In the air, these celestial jades formed a pagoda. Juyi looked at the female corpse one last time, before throwing her toward the pagoda, and she disappeared inside. Juyi pointed with his right hand and the pagoda shrunk. The shrunken pagoda flew into Wang Lin's hand. The moment he touched the pagoda, a mysterious force entered his body. There was now an extra imprint in his origin soul. "This pagoda contains my domain. If you find a cold place and place this pagoda down, it will form a barrier 100 meters wide. Unless someone has a higher cultivation level than my current self, they won't be able to pass the barrier without your consent." Juyi smiled at Wang Lin as he pointed at his own brow. A red jade the size of his fingernail appeared and he flicked it toward Wang Lin. The moment this red jade appeared, the collapse of the fragment seemed to pause for a moment. This red jade seemed to release the power of the laws of the heavens. When Wang Lin saw this red jade, he felt the same feeling he had felt back when he was turning into a mortal and first touched the law of reincarnation. This jade contained a power similar to that, causing Wang Lin to take a deep breath. "This is the first gift I give you, an ascendant crystal. This item is useless to you right now, but if one day you are about to reach the ascendant stage, then this item can help you." The old man stared at the crystal with a strong desire for it on his face. He knew far too well the worth of this item. Although this item has no abilities at all, it forms when a cultivator reaches the ascendant stage. It contains their perception of the heavens. If he could obtain this item, then his chance of reaching the ascendant stage would increase by 30%. The only purpose of this item was to allow the user to have a second chance during the life and death choices in the attempt to reach the ascendant stage. Once an ascendant cultivator loses their ascendant crystal, their cultivation will continue to drop until they die. This crystal is almost no different from their life. Even Ju Yi had just formed his. Kai, who also stared dumbfoundedly at the ascendant crystal. He was the young master of the giant demon clan after all, so he knew more than most. He was able to recognize it at first glance and felt a deep sense of regret. Although he knew that Ju Yi wouldn't ask someone to look after his wife for free, he didn't think that Ju Yi would hand out a gift like this. If he knew this beforehand, he wouldn't have hesitated at all and agreed. Also, from what Ju Yi had said before, this was only the first gift, meaning there was likely a second present, a third present. The regret in Kai, whose heart had reached its limit. The expression on those two's faces made Ju Yi very proud. He pointed at the old man, and the old man's body flew up into Ju Yi's hand. Ju Yi calmly said, "My second gift to you is this person. The head elder of the corpse sect. I can spare your life, but you must become a slave for 1,000 years. Are you willing?" Before absolute power, the head elder of the corpse sect only had to choose, live or die. The old man bitterly said, "My life won't even last another 100 years, so how can I be a slave for 1,000 years? You might as well kill me. If you want to die, then I can help you. With my remaining strength, I can refine you into a puppet. Although your cultivation level will drop, it will be considered my second gift." With that, Ju Yi pointed toward the old man's forehead. He only needed to point at the old man's forehead, and this corpse sect head elder would die. The fingers slowly got closer. The old man's forehead was covered in sweat. The scent of death infinitely increased. Although he had less than 100 years left to live, if he could break through to the late stage of soul transformation, his lifespan would be extended. Also, with the corpse sex methods, he had many ways to extend his life. The moment the finger came, he bitterly said, "I agree." Ju Yi's right hand didn't stop, but moved faster, until it touched the old man's forehead. His other hand pointed at Wang Lin, and Wang Lin's body involuntarily flew toward him. A mysterious light came out from the old man's forehead, traveled through Ju Yi, and made its way into Wang Lin. Wang Lin immediately felt like he could sense all of the corpse sect head elder's intentions, and with just a thought, he could destroy the old man's soul. The head elder of the corpse sect let out a sigh as he rather unnaturally turned toward Wang Lin and respectfully said, "This old slave son Tai greets master." The bitterness in his heart couldn't be described. Kai, who stared at the scene before him. The regret in his heart had already reached a monstrous level. A soul transformation slave, this. If I were to return to my clan with this, then I would no longer be the young master, but the head of the clan. With this person in my hands, aside from inside the country of Suzaku, I would be able to freely walk the planet. I shouldn't have hesitated. Ju Yi's body was reaching its end. It no longer looked solid. It seemed like he was ready to disappear. He looked around and eventually said to Wang Lin, "Take good care of her." Wang Lin took a deep breath and nodded. Everything had happened very quickly. Even now, he still couldn't believe what he had gained. Ju Yi saw Wang Lin nod and smiled. At this moment, his body started to dissipate, starting from his feet. At the end, there was still a smile on his face. "Master, if there is an afterlife, I'm still your disciple." Just at this moment, the pagoda flew out of Wang Lin's hand and expanded. It released a white light, and the female corpse came out on its own and floated in the air. This video will end here.